All right. So last week we were 6 of 4 in our picks, which is not bad. Very good compared to 2 weeks ago. We were 3 of 7. Then we went 4 and 6. That's our best record so far. Um, Wrong picks. We had Utah over uh Texas Tech. That was a very good game to watch. Um, Arkansas. You couldn't have just ran out the rest of the clock and kicked it. I picked that one wrong as Memphis does it in honestly a way that Arkansas should have won that game. SMU loses to CCU. That was my upset pick. I had Nebraska losing to Michigan, correct. I had North Carolina losing to UCF, correct. I had Duke beating NC State, correct. And I was on the minority on that one, so I'm pretty proud of that one. Of course, correct with the Hurricanes beating the Gators. Incorrect with the Illini beating the Hoosiers. That was an embarrassing game for the Illini. Correct with Arizona State beating Baylor. Again, in the minority of that one. And of course, correct in the BYU game versus East Carolina. BYU now being ranked as well in week 4. Pretty off on the points for the Miami Florida game. 33 was the final one when I had 56. I thought Miami's offense would do better, if I'm being honest. So, let's get into week 5. So, first game, we got the Illini versus the Trojans. Now, I think this could very much be a bounce back week for the Illini. I do. I think the Illini could very much bounce back and take back a win against the Trojans and keep their one loss in the Big Ten, especially at home. They're going to want to bounce back and fight back in this game. I just think USC is too talented. Plus, I am rooting for USC every single game this year until they play Oregon. I want another ranked matchup besides Penn State for the Ducks. But hey, we got Indiana now, so. But either way, I do think USC is a very good team this season, and they are going to play very well in this game, and they are going to take the W, and Illinois will be out of the Big Ten title conversation by the end of the week. Um, we got Notre Dame facing Arkansas. This could be a upset, very much so. I don't think Arkansas is that bad of a team. I think they should have beat Memphis, but I also think Memphis is a good Group of 5 school. They could be in the conversation for the college football playoff when it comes to the end of the week or end of the year. Um, but I think Notre Dame's getting better and better each game, and I do think Notre Dame will take this one over the Razorbacks. Rutgers at Minnesota. I think I gotta give it to the home team here. I don't think Minnesota is the strongest team, but I don't think Rutgers is either. The home field advantage is definitely going to play a part in this game. And yeah, I just don't really think Rutgers is that talented compared to Minnesota. I think Minnesota will be able to take care of business in their own stadium. Next, we got the UCF Knights taking on the Kansas State Wildcats, a preseason top 25 team that is now 1-3. I'm going with the UCF Knights here. It seems like Vegas is preferring the Wildcats. I'm going to go with the undefeated team here. I think UCF is not a bad team by any means. I do believe that their quarterback is Shakari Brown, former Miami Hurricane. He is actually a pretty good dual threat quarterback. So, yeah, I like UCF in this matchup. So, I got to pick them over Kansas State. Now we got the other team in Kansas. We got the Jayhawks versus the Bears. I'm very high on Jalen Daniels. I think he'll be able to get it done this week against the Bears Cats, and yeah, I think he's going to show that he should be in the Heisman conversation. I'm very high on Jalen Daniels. I think he will show at one point in the season that he should be in the Heisman conversation for this year. Next, we got Louisville versus Pitt, and I gotta go with the Cardinals here. I think the Cardinals are good enough that they can play in good. I think they're good enough that they could be ranked at one point. I do think Louisville is good enough that they could get ranked. Um, and I don't think Pitt is that good either. Um, After losing to West Virginia in the backyard brawl, I really don't think Pitt's morale is up. I think they are going to be a slower team than Louisville. Now we got LSU, Ole Miss, and this is the first game, or no, this is not the second game this season where LSU is not favored by Vegas. They are considered underdogs in this game against Ole Miss. And the first time that they were underdogs, they were also playing away. But they came out on top, just like they will this week. I think the Tigers are still a very good team. Um, and I could see them beating Ole Miss, although I would not mind an Ole Miss win here. This would definitely raise the Hurricanes, or keep the Hurricanes up at 2 in this next week's rankings. Got game of the week. I don't know why it doesn't say sponsored by the Home Depot here. We got Oregon. We got my Ducks facing off against the Penn State Nittany Lions. And trying to put as much phantom as I can to the side. I see the majority of people are picking Oregon to win this game. I It hurts. It hurts. But I'm going with Penn State. I think Penn State is a good team. I think Happy Valley is going to be a very difficult environment for the Ducks to play in against a very good Penn State team. I think it'll be close, but I think the Nittany Lions will pull it off. It's painful. It is painful to choose Penn State. Like I want to explain to you guys that my body is trying to reject this. Like I feel like tears coming on from making this pick. I feel like shivers in my back. That's like if I click this, I feel like they go away. But as soon as I click it, it comes back. Uh, it is physically painful for me to choose Penn State. But the way I want to make these picks is if I had to bet my house on one of these two teams, who do I think will come out on top? And I think it will be Penn State. I hope, and I hope to God that I am dead wrong and Oregon wins this game by 70. But I can't. I can't. There's points where you have to put fandom to the side, and this is one of them. I mean, I saw that if you guys watched my preseason prediction video, I did give Oregon a loss to Penn State as their only loss of the season. And I think both teams have played very well. Um, I mean, this is, to be fair, both teams' first real test. But I do think Penn State is a good team. I think they are a more experienced team. I think their backfield is going to be a problem for Oregon's offense. I think their defense is going to be, their backfield is going to be an issue for Oregon's defense. I think their offense is going to be a problem for Oregon's defense. I think their defense is going to be a problem for Oregon's offense. I think that environment is going to be huge, and it's going to be a very difficult game. I'm not saying the Ducks can't pull it off. As you can see here, the majority of people are picking the Ducks to win this game. Not a huge majority, but the majority are. Um, but I'm staying on this too long. Let's go to the Alabama Georgia game. And I'm gonna pick Georgia here. I do think the Bulldogs are doing very good this season, and I think that they will just put Bama away. And I am hoping to God that they do and they embarrass the heck out of Bama so that we no longer have to see that little number next to the Tide. All 19 years of college football that I've watched, every single year, I remember that little number next to the fucking Crimson Tide, and I want it gone. I don't like the Tide at all. I don't. So get Georgia, do me a huge solid, and get that number far the fuck away from them. Sorry for all the swearing on that one and bring down the mood for those past two games. But now we got BYU versus Colorado. This is a tough one. Colorado only losing to Georgia Tech, and who else did they lose to? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they did lose a pack or a Big 12 game already. Might have been TCU or someone around that. Um, but I don't think BYU is as good as they look either. BYU hasn't really been tested either. While Colorado has. And they actually played pretty well in those tests, although they ended up losing both of them. They played pretty well, especially against Georgia Tech. Um, so I think I'm gonna go with Colorado here. And this one might have a little bit of bias because my best friend goes to CU, and he's probably gonna be watching this. Hi, Joao. Um, but yeah, I gotta go with Colorado. I like what Coach Prime is doing over there. Um, Caden Salter very much last week looked very improved. So yeah, how many points do I think will be scored in the Oregon Penn State game? This is a very tough choice because I'm not sure if this game will be a very defensive battle or a very offensive shootout. Not sure if this is going to be a basic stalemate or the race of a lifetime. Because I do believe both teams have good defenses, and I do believe both teams have good offenses. It's just which one's going to come out on top on both sides. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with my score prediction for this game, which was 31 to 27 Penn State, meaning that 58 total points will be scored. It's tough, and sorry to keep going back on this, but it's tough not picking your team. You know, it is. Um, both teams have looked great. And before you guys all come running in the comments to me like you're not a real fan, you should always pick Oregon. You should always pick the Canes when you're trying to make a pick. It's look, I'm trying to be as objective as possible here. Um, there obviously there will always be fan bias going into it. Um, but you gotta try and be as objective as possible here. Even though this is just for fun and I'm not winning any money off of it, which would have been great last week. Um, it's I just hope the Ducks prove me wrong and they get this win. I believe in them, but I don't believe in them enough to gamble this game away. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. And yeah, again, if you guys did enjoy, like the video, subscribe. If you guys are upset with my Ducks pick and don't think I'm a real Ducks fan and want to call me a coward, whatever, for not picking the Ducks, go right ahead, do it in the comments. I kind of want to call myself that. Um, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I bleed orange and green and yellow. And DJ out. I'll see you all next time. Go Ducks. Beat Penn State.